It is with sullen woes that we here at Über Cinco mourn the loss of Her Majesty the Queen. We all lost at the ripe young age of 96 today. With heavy hearts, we keep calm and carry on. But it is just our luck that we happen to receive the first taped message from King Charles, a long-time listener, first-time caller this afternoon, and we'd like to play it for you now.
Hello there, boys out there in Bizbad Nation, you alright? Well, about bloody time, innit? There's a new king round these parts, and it's me, good old King Chuck, reporting for duty. There's a new sheriff in town, and we're all about to get so much minge, our frickin' dingle tabs and wiggleberries might fall off, yeah? Once we put that old bat in the box, we'll have you over. Pick any castle, really. They're all me ohms now. I'll bring a couple kegs of Boddingtons. We'll chase him down with biscuits and then sniffle, yeah? I'm gonna bury one in Camilla's clunge, but you boys hop the first flight out, yeah? It's gonna be fucking mental, I tell you. Get your end sorted, and we'll be seeing you. Camilla, let's have a pop. Absolute carnage.
It just feels so nice to have the royal family on our side. Welcome to Über Cinco, the podcast game show where we deep dive top fives. And if you haven't guessed, today's topic is our top 5 favorite things about the monarchy. Our first contestant owns just enough land to be a baron, but not enough to have a title that means anything. It's Baron Nathan Fig Brines Hennenfent. How are you, sir? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Oh, I'm good. And if I can just say up top that people are talking about the Queen dying. The Queen did not die. She was assassinated, and we all know it. Boris Johnson, the coward, did not have the stones to go through with it, and so they had to bring in Liz Truss. The Tories bring in Liz Truss to finish it off. I mean, you see her shaking hands with the Queen, and 48 hours she's dead. Sprightly, young, vibrant people don't just drop dead like that. All roads point to the Tories. Mitch, I know that you and I often disagree on conspiracy theories, but I am all in on this one.
I mean, there's clearly she had some expired Coleman's mustard on her hand that she passed to the Queen, and that got in her bloodstream, and boom, there she goes. I just want to say, in reference to the phone call, though, it is always such a true pleasure. It's a gift when Chuck the fuck Windsor calls in and leaves us a voicemail. I mean, that dude just knows how to just blow the stacks off the old chimney sweeps. You know, this was the
only one he's sent us that was actually clean enough to air.
I know. I mean, he really scaled back. The rest have been way over the line.
Normally, he's got like a racial epithet for every single country in the world that he says during the call. It's like 200 slurs. You're like, whoa, Chuck, the fuck, Windsor, you know how to party, but cool it, man. Yeah, so just a pleasure. Definitely assassinated. I'm right there with you. And also, can we? I just also want to reference here. The moon landing was shot at Jared Leto's now home, which is a decommissioned naval base. Guess what year that was filmed? Same year that Princess Margaret did her U.S. tour. Coincidence? I think not. Okay, sister of the dearly departed Queen. I just want to put that out there as truth. And guys, check it out. Do your own research. Figure it out. I think there's something there. Okay, thank you.
All right, you already heard from this shithead, but challenging the Baron for his share of the property is Duke Mitchell von Brinkman, Earl of the Bristol Isles, Viscount of the Ginger Princes, and hopefully last of his name. Welcome, Mitch. How are you?
I've been riding me bike far too much to have a couple sires on the side. Oh, and guess what? I'm from down under. I'm the Australian prince. I can never stay in my British accent.
I will admit on mic that I had to do the King Charles thing several times because it came out Australian 2 or 3 times. So that's why I was late coming into the show. I had too many down under takes. But if you all want to get blown to the moon, head on over to ubercinco.com to listen to this and any other fine episode. And we thank you for your submissions for the upcoming topics that keep us honest. We know that. And if you're a frequent listener here at Über Cinco, welcome back. And here's your hot towel, because that's what I wrote last time. And if you're new, well, sit back, relax, and take it in. No need to share the rules. We're pretty sure you'll get it. We are not smart enough to come up with anything complicated. I am the host today, And those frequent listeners know I get to institute a house rule for today's game. And it's going to be bonus points to anyone who forces in English vernacular, just like King Chucky did earlier. Force them in. I want to hear that slang, boys. Get it out in the open today. And don't forget to stay until the end of the show where I, Brian Ernst, will list off my fast 5 worst reasons to extend a London getaway. Now, we had a pre-show scavenger hunt where we told our contestants to meet us at in London at a famous bridge. Mitch mistakenly went to London Bridge, which is just a boring old river crossing, where London expert met us at Tower Bridge, solidifying his place in today's competition. Nathan, you must go first.
Well, first, we remember why Tower Bridge is a famous landmark. It's because that's the bridge that Mark Morrison drives over in the music video of Return of the Mac.
Yes, exactly.
How else would we know that? I mean, it's literally the only thing that's ever showed up in pop culture.
Yeah.
Return of the Mac. Bum, bum.
Well,
sorry.
Well, speaking of rivers and bridges, my number 5 reason that I love monarchies is Boat Parade. There was a song, a brilliant song by a brilliant artist, Boat Parade. It's on YouTube. You can find that whole clip if you want.
Boat parade, looking for directions to the boat parade. Gonna get a sunburn standing out here all day, trying to get a ticket to the boat parade. I appreciate.
We'll put it in the show notes.
But every major anniversary of the Queen of England being on the throne, in 1977, for example, it was her Silver Jubilee, and they had a boat parade. Now, how many people have ever been to a boat parade? Not many.
A lot of Trump supporters in 2020, right? And they were overtaken by waves. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Well, they wanted to have a good boat parade, but you can't do it like the Queen did. And I've been to one of the Queen's boat parades. I went in 2012. The boat parade ended right by Tower Bridge, and I lived near there at the time. So I saw the royal family with my own 2 eyes, and I can confirm they are lizard people. It's true. That much is true.
Okay.
But I went to the boat parade. I saw all the boats. I saw the magnificent warships. I saw the bridge do the thing where it lifts up so the magnificent warships can go in. I saw the ships from centuries ago. I saw the new modern battle cruisers. And then I saw the ships with all of the lovely people coming through. Now, to bring it back to the song, my friend Sarah Shine.
Yes.
Will hold for editing. So to bring it back to the song, my friend Sarah Shine introduced me to that. She just kept saying boat parade over and over again, and I had no idea what she was referencing. So she finally played me that song, and I was like, yes, that is a legendary masterpiece of a song. And then she would continue to say boat parade all the time. And I said, have you ever been to a boat parade? And she said, no. And I said, well, I have. And this was the week that Prince Andrew made headlines for, it came out about him and the Jeffrey Epstein and all the whatnot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I said to her, do you know who I saw at this boat parade? And she said, Prince Andrew. And I said, actually, yes, that was a really conveniently timed guess. I did see Prince Andrew among the more well-liked members of the royal family. But the other great moment in boat parade history was in 1977, where 2 days before the royal boat parade, the Sex Pistols, who had just released God Save the Queen, she's not a human being, and so forth, decided that they would do their own boat parade, performing those songs as they went past the Palace of Westminster and Parliament and Westminster Abbey. The police were called. It didn't end well, but pretty epic rock and roll moment.
When you say it didn't end well, did they all go to jail? I didn't know this about the Sex Pistols. I'm a rock and roll neophyte.
There were arrests. There were fights. I was skimming an article real quick right before we started, and there was something about Richard Branson losing $500, which to him I would hope was a lot of money, so he could feel poor for once in his existence.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a true thing that happened.
Like if they, I'm assuming obviously that they're not holding a boat parade in January or February. It's not an Easter boat parade; it's a summer one. Do the royals get to wear shorts, or is everyone in full pants all the time?
Well, the Duke of Edinburgh was in Bermudas, but then everybody else was, to the nines. I think They might have even had the military garb on. I don't
he
fully
was
remember.
not in Bermudas. Seriously, no
He was
way.
in Bermudas, yeah.
Oh, good for him. See, sometimes old racists can surprise you, you know?
And he would have been like 88, 89 years old. He stopped caring.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's like, if you look close enough, my balls are hanging out the bottom of my short pants. Yes. Ooh. I have to really, really put it on thick, or else I do go into Australian very quickly. So I have to.
It is so hard. I did not.
I know.
You're the one who always does it live, and I was like, I can't do this live. It will. This is knife. That's where it's going to end up.
If you say this is a knife in England, everyone's on high alert because that's the most dangerous weapon around. So, which is
minus the
crazy.
M16s that the cops carry.
Well, a regular commoner, a real 2-bit chuggy, if you will. So,
2-bit chuggy.
that's
I call them my fellow subjects.
That is a British term. Extra points for me. Thank you very much.
2-bit chuggy. I'm going to count it. So that's one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Oh my God. So, I mean, if you were in a boat parade, Nathan, what kind of vessel would you like to be on?
It wouldn't technically be a vessel. I would want to be on a jet ski, weaving in and out of the cumbersome vessels around me. I want to be able to circle the entire boat parade multiple times as it lumbers through the dirty brown water of the Thames. I want to be the most seen person. I want people to be sick of me. I want to, at first they're going to be like, this is really cool. But then I'm also going to have speakers and I'm going to be blaring what's the bicycle tune by the band Queen. I'm just going to be playing that over and over and over again. And people think, when he comes back around, he's going to be playing We Are the Champions or something like that. But no, just bicycle over and over and over again.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think you'll also be the first person in the royal family to wear neon green Pit Viper sunglasses during a boat parade.
Oh, baby, yes.
You'll just be ripping around Lady Amelia Spencer hanging on for dear life in a bikini as you rip it 62 miles an hour through the dirty water. Now, so, that's a picture I'd like to see. I would definitely watch for that. And your hair, obviously, it's long, right? Because you get to...
Yeah, I'm taking it out of the bun and letting that thing fly in the wind.
Yeah. You need to get on a jet ski, Nathan. You really need to do that and get some footage of yourself on it.
I've been on a jet ski. It's true. It's never been photographically captured, but I do love a jet ski.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to insert a host anecdote here because I was recently on a jet ski and there is footage of it and I wish there wasn't. So down in Florida, in Sarasota, Florida, recently, we decided to go jet skiing on the last day of a wedding that we're there. There were 6 of us who were all going out. So I already have like the heebie-jeebies going out there because I'm like, is there going to be one big enough for me? Are they going to have a big enough life vest? All these worries are going through my head. The top of my feet going to get sunburned. Those are my first 3 concerns before I even get there. So I'm already worried. Then I finally get on the jet ski and I am not prepared for how much like core engaging it is because it's very pretty wobbly. And it's like you really got to kind of like, it's all in your forearms too once you finally get on. Mm-hmm. I'm finally starting to get a hang of this thing. We're out there for an hour, 15 minutes in. I'm not paying attention. I'm so focused on like my hands. I miss a sign and I verge off into some seaweed territory.
Oh,
so I'm like, fuck, rookie mistake. All right. And then all of a sudden it goes, and I am stuck. So I wiggle off the sandbar. I get out of the seaweed and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm fine. And we start going. And all of a sudden my jet ski tops out at 8 miles an hour. I cannot go faster than 8 miles an hour now. It's jammed up somewhere. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to go back to base, not worry about it. I don't care. I'm going to go. Somehow on my way back to base, I miss another sign and end up in even shallower territory.
Oh my God.
Thicker fucking seaweed. And this time I am
wearing your glasses or something. What's going on here? Yeah.
But this time I was stuck. And now I'm panicking again because if I get off of a jet ski, I don't know if I have enough upper body strength to get back on a jet ski. But I'm like, all right, I am stuck. So I get out, and luckily I jump down, and it's only up to my knees, and I'm touching the bottom. So I'm like, this is good. So I have a moment to finally reach under. The guy told us, he's like, yeah, there's 4 bars under there. You can reach out and pull the seaweed. He's like, it's not hot. There's no engine things, whatever. You can just kind of reach in there. I'm touching the bottom of this thing. I'm spinning this jet ski around. I'm in the middle there. Everyone's passing me, watching me. I feel nothing. There's no vents. There's nothing. I can't get anything out of there. So I'm like, I need to push this off the sandbar to get to deeper territory and try and get back on this thing and figure it out. I'm scuffling through the seaweed, and all I'm doing is stubbing my toes on clams and mussels.
Oh,
and
God.
And the water is just terribly murky. There's dolphins and manatees everywhere. So it's like, it's a really, there's a bunch of manatee warning signs, and I'm seeing dolphins jump like within 20 feet of me.
What the
And I'm like,
Well, that's quite beautiful.
terrified. That's beautiful. But I'm also like, this is very dirty, shallow, murky water. I'm terrified of a bull shark. So I'm like, let me get the fuck out of here as quickly as possible. As I am pushing the jet ski, it's floating. I'm waddling through this thing. I slice the bottom of my foot open on a clamshell.
Oh my God.
And then I finally
Nightmare.
get this jet ski to where it needs to go. And I'm finally able to get on of it. And then I have to idle all the way back to where we started. 4.5 miles on idling.
No way.
It was like 3 to 5 miles an hour. I was the last one to show up. And I was like, all right, guys, I'm here. I made it back. I'm like, I'm gonna have to call one of these guys for a tow. I was like super panicked. And then I went in and I paid my $130 for the joyous experience.
Oh, that is just the worst case scenario.
I'm jet skied out as I am boat paraded out. So I think I'm going to move on to Mitch for your number 5, as I've already sucked up too much time on our number 5.
Oh my God.
What do you have for us, Mitch?
Bummer, dude. Real bummer.
That wasn't my best experience.
From now on,
aquaponics.
Read a sign. Just read a sign. Okay. My number 5 is a classic Monarchy move, and that is the study abroad. Whether you get bored and you need some action in your life, maybe you want to add to your resume, or maybe you're just like a little shit kid, or your parents suck and they don't want to have to deal with you. They send you away. Some famous study abroads. Of course, earlier I mentioned Princess Margaret. She went on a bit of a study abroad. It was supposed to be a private tour, trip initially to the U.S., turned into a public tour. That kind of helped her find herself, find her voice, find her character, if you will. Then later on in her life, she went on another study abroad to a Caribbean island, Mustique, I think is how you pronounce it, where she said, "You know what? I'm done with the old man. I'm gonna bang a gardener who's 2 decades my junior, Roddy,
nice,
the hot Rod Llewellyn, the guy who was able to give her a second zest of life, if you will."
Does this guy have a jersey? Like, I want to wear his jersey.
I mean, if you can't buy a jersey of him in Piccadilly Circus, I don't know where you'd get one. But Harry had some famous studies abroad, and he studied some broads, if you know what I'm saying. In America, he once took a big old bullet and went on an official tour of the Caribbean for the Crown. Someone had to. And I actually was in Las Vegas the same time as Prince Harry when he was studying abroad there. He was studying blackjack, roulette, and craps at the Mirage, I think is where he was, which we saw the entourage. We saw the crowds. We didn't go anywhere near. But I just love that idea of, the royals, they love their family. Family's most important. It's what defines them. It's what gives them their power. And yet they're trying to push each other away all the time. Go off to school, get away from me, come back when you're more of use to me, kind of thing. I've always found that fascinating. And also when you own half the world, it's easy to go study abroad. It's easy just to pick up and go. Pick up and go someplace. Technically, at her death, Elizabeth was still the ruler of Canada, your Australias, your Jamaica's,
14 nations in the Commonwealth at this point, I think.
14 nations. There we go. So, so a lot of places. places you wouldn't expect. You'd think eventually Canada would be like, hey, fuck off, yeah, or or whatever, but that hasn't happened yet.
I talked to a Canadian today, and this was like the most Canadian reaction to this, I think.
It was a boot time.
She said she had nothing sentimental connection, but she's like, yeah, I was just thinking about all the things that'll change. Like, our money's going to be different now because it'll be Charles's face on the money. Like, that was her first thought. That was it. But that's how much it will affect her life.
Yeah, that's true.
Part of me thinks that like maybe they shouldn't rush to change the money, and like Elizabeth was such a one of a kind thing and sort of became so central to the British culture that like,
they'll keep her on some of it because they also have like Elgar, the composer, and Charles Darwin's on some of their money and shit like that. So,
they do. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not just her on everything, but
okay.
But they'll have to give Charles like the 2 pence coin or something that's almost never used. I mean, when I was in London 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago or whenever, they're even more cashless than we are here at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how much it'll matter.
You know who should get the loony? Prince Andrew, right? He's a real loony, right? So I'm always enjoy these studies abroad, and also from watching what little bit of The Crown I did, Queen Elizabeth's own studies abroad in other countries, supposedly to bring like optimism and good tidings and whatever feelings to these countries. Did she really change anything? I don't know. I think maybe she just went to go look at elephants and shoot some tigers or whatever, But
that's definitely more in line.
Yeah,
with it. But I mean, they should change their money, put real figures on it, like we did with like President Benjamin Franklin.
Exactly. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I got to score out this number 5 so we can keep this rolling here. Yeah. You guys are going to get 2s across the board. Boat parade was great, but then it reminded me of a jet ski. And then you reminded me about how little money I have, Mitch. So therefore, you're only getting a 2.
Do I get the bonus point for 2-bit chuggy though?
You do. That'll be at the end.
Thank you.
I'll tell you all the bonus points at the end. 2-bit chuggy does count.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to our favorite 3-bit chuggy. It's Nathan for his number 4. What do you have?
Oh, well, my number 4 is easy choices when naming children. This is just beautiful. It's convenient because now we've got people naming their kids Biloxi, Mississippi Jones, or Caitlin spelled KEIGHTLYNNE. I've had enough of this. I don't want to be in a position where my significant other and I are disagreeing on names because I want to name it after an obscure Chicago Bulls player from the 90s like Stacey King Hennenfent. And they want to name it something completely ridiculous from whatever they're into. So you just go down to the names of the previous royal members of the family before you, of which there are not that many. So it's like, okay, we're going to use one of his great-grandfather's names. 2 of them got their head chopped off. They're out. The other chopped off his several wives' heads. That's out. Okay, George it is. We're left with George. He'll be the 7th one. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's George. Boom. We're done. So to put this in perspective, there have been 42 monarchs since 1066. And they have used 15 names. And when you narrow it down to the kings, these geezers... Brian, geezers. I'll say it one more time. Geezers.
What? Come on.
Oh, that's better than whatever the hell you said. It's definitely more common.
2-bit chuggy is only said in England. Geezers is said across the world.
Geezers, very, very specific East London. Anyways, these 36 kings only use 9 names. That's 4 kingships to a name. It's there's
and what are all the names?
8 Henrys, 8 Edwards, 6 Georges, 4 Williams, 3 Richards, 3 Charles, 2 Marys, 2 Elizabeths, 2 James, 1 Stephen, 1 John, 1 Jane, 1 Anne, 1 Matilda, 1 Victoria.
And Matilda is the wildest one out of all of those.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
She was married to Stephen, another one-off. So you can kind of toss them aside.
One-offs.
Was it a Stephen with a V or a PH?
PH.
Ugh, gross. Yeah, needs a V in there. Needs a V. All right, sorry, keep going.
I mean, that does suck that they only have those names to choose from. You think he's going to pick King George?
Wait, the king now?
Do you think King Charles will pick a different name?
I think he's going with King Charles III. I saw that in an article today, which I think he was thinking of not going with Charles III because Charles II did have his head chopped off. He was executed by the state.
Yeah, but it is his name.
I know.
Like, there's other Charleses.
Yeah. So he's Charles III.
As we heard in his recording, he did pick King Chuck, which I am totally
Chuck the fuck.
okay with.
Chuck the fuck Windsor. I mean, that's a classic name.
Chuck the fuck Windsor, baby.
How can you toss that name out? And I was very happy. I know I've told this story before, but I won money off of this system because when Will and Kate had their baby, you could bet on what they would name the baby. And we have these names to choose from. These, 9 names for kings,
names,
9 just for the kings. I was like, all right, I got a 1 in 9 shot. I'll go with my own middle name, George. And boom, out came George, 200 pounds coming my way. Drinks on me, baby.
That's toast. A big baby.
So that could be, if the monarchy lasts that long, and I'll touch on this a little later. If it lasts that long, he will be King George VII. So we raised our glasses to the possible King George VII that night.
All right.
That's all I have to say on my number 4.
That's all right. I have future plans for my own Tony Kukoc Ernst, but we will get to that in the future. Mitch, you're number 4. What do you have for us?
I just want to say, too, if you're trying to name a kid after a 90s b-ball player, I think, Rick Smith's Hennenfent just rolls off the tongue, if you have an especially tall,
What about Sarunas Marshallonis Hennenfent?
Well, I mean, that one's not too bad. If you really want to knock it out of the park, though, you go with Pooh Richardson Hennenfent. That right there, that's the name. Okay, my number 4 is this is an obvious one, and of course, you guys know over the past since we started this podcast, I have become a full-on just over the top dog daddy. And so this makes all the sense in the world. So my number 4 is the dogs. I love the dogs of monarchs and rulers. You could say the Bidens are the monarchs of Delaware, honestly, like they're the first family of Delaware at this point, and they've ascended to the seat. And they are a German Shepherd family. Champ and Major are the current pups.
Ooh, how unpatriotic. That's a different country than ours.
Well, hold on there. I'm not done chit-chatting. Hold on. And one of them was sent home for taking a little nibble out of a worker, but that's okay.
Sitting president. Yeah.
No, he didn't bite the president. He bit an assistant. So, yeah.
Assistant to the president.
Yeah, assistant to the president. Yeah, exactly. Putin loves a number of sort of your Arctic dogs who are big, fluffy, furry, and can withstand a winter in Siberia. And of course, the dearly departed monarch Elizabeth was a giant fan of the corgi, which is a perma happy looking dog, giant smiles, big old ears, big eyes, made for an anime, really, honestly, not made for doing farm work or hunting, really, even though maybe I think they were rat dogs at one point, perhaps.
I was going to say they kind of look like rats.
Yeah. Them and dachshunds could shove their little bodies into holes and scare up animals for the hunters to shoot on horseback.
The low riders of the dog kingdom. Exactly.
And then the real dogs go in and get the animals after that.
The bloodhounds.
Exactly. The hounds.
I've known 2 corgis in my lifetime, and they were both named Corky. So
Corky the Corky.
Yeah. See, it goes in line with what I was just saying.
Yes.
Simple naming.
Yes. The corgis I've known were named Dottie was the one that my dog Waldo enjoyed, and then another corgi named Edward, actually, also the name of a king. He did not like Edward. Edward was an old curmudgeon, an old piss swallow, if you will, another great English term. So I'm just serving them up like big fat.
You're playing the
meaty,
game. You're playing
meaty,
the game.
saucy softballs for you. So I love dogs. I love it when when leaders are able to use the dogs to deflect attention from shitty things they do, or like the shitty circumstances that they've created for everyone else except for themselves. I love how dogs can somehow humanize leaders as well. And corgis are especially good at this. And of course, when Elizabeth tosses on the old handkerchief on the head, puts on her wellies, and goes out in the field with 8 little yapping little shit bags covered in fur, it's a very cute thing. So that's my number 4. Thank you very much. Dogs are the best. Over and out. Thank you.
All right, dogs are the worst. So 1 point for Mitch, and then Nathan, you're going to get 3 points for easy name choices.
No. You know what?
Is there anything worse than a dog that shits on the lawn?
Oh, shit.
Is a dog that shits on the lawn with an English accent. I can't do it. So we're moving on to our number 3s. Nathan, what do you have?
You're such a hater. You are such a goddamn hater, Brian. You know what?
I'm just an opinionated man with facts to back it up.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Nathan, go. I'll let you go now, even though Brian's a dick. Okay, keep going.
That's fine.
My number 3, and this is why it is possible the monarchy might not be dismantled. It's the only reason keeping it afloat, and this is gossip. The British public loves their tabloid gossip. They absolutely devour it, and these royal family is just built in. If it's a slow week in the headlines, there's no celebrities spitting on each other or suing each other or fucking each other or whatever the case may be. You've got the royal family, and they make amazing cartoon James Bond villains. They are always screwing up because they're so detached from reality. And so you can just tear them down. You can hate them. You can disparage them, but they're also the perfect mascot that stands for everything that you want your country to represent, because they have all the fancy clothes and the homes and the whatnot, and the perfect
bad
accents,
teeth and
which
the cousins for spouses. Yep.
Exactly. Yep. So you can have a sense of pride about them when people from other countries want to disparage them. No. Wag the finger at that. No reason to let anybody else in on your fun of just ripping these people to shreds. Here's how much they love to gossip about the royal family in the UK. They literally gossiped a woman they loved to death. They just absolutely went all in on being fascinated by Princess Diana, to the point where the paparazzi were following her so closely, she died. And they mourned, and it was a horrible, tragic event where the whole nation came together. And then 2 weeks later, they kept hounding her children, and they are still doing it to this day. They have not learned their lesson. So it's just not going away. This feeds a need of the public, the gossip. They are the perfect target for this. So I don't know. Even the people who say they don't want the monarchy to go away, I'm just not sure they'll be able to give it up. It's just like that.
Yeah.
This is my one last cigarette, is that one last story about the distasteful life that Prince Andrew and his many acolytes are leading. We hate it, but we just can't get enough of it.
Bringing it full circle to what we talked about at the beginning, where are you on the biggest of all conspiracies that Elizabeth ordered the crash of Diana?
I once again defer to the comedic geniuses, David Mitchell and Robert Webb, who have a great clip on this. Because if that was planned, it is the worst plan ever. For instance, if somebody was slightly drunk. Anybody who's slightly drunk will always have a fatal crash. And people who are wearing their seatbelts always die. And there's no chance she will put on a seat. It's ludicrous.
It's a pretty stupid conspiracy.
Yeah.
She can be racist and quiet all she wants in her castle. It doesn't. There's too many holes.
They didn't. And also, my favorite part of that skit is, yes, because we don't like her, so therefore we should kill her when she is at her most beautiful and most beloved around the world, instead of letting her age and her popularity wane. Like, let's make her a saint-like figure. That'll make her go away. Yeah.
Is the vigil still up in Harrods?
Harrods was sold, and so it is not there. I was in Harrods when I went there. I was like my tube stop. I came out after Heathrow. So I milled about, and I don't think it's there anymore. After Mohammed Al Fayed sold it, I think whoever owns it now removed it. It is a creepy statue, very bizarre, very strange.
Yes,
Mohammed Al Fayed and Diana like holding hands, and they only knew each other for like 6 months. The whole thing was odd.
Yeah, and then they're enshrined together forever, which it's very.
This is also the same guy who put a statue of Michael Jackson outside Fulham FC's soccer stadium. But yeah, so I don't know, but he did. Whatever. I don't think that's there anymore either.
I think I can make a connection here. Although looking like an adult club, Fulham often plays down in the junior leagues, right? Is that?
I see what you're doing.
That seems like a stretch even for the Sun or the Daily Mail, Mitch.
Also, are we sure Rupert Murdoch didn't order the death of Princess Di as a way to sell more tabloids?
That seems more logical than the Queen doing it. So if that's where you want your conspiracy theory to lie,
go
ahead and.
An Aussie hero tired of the boot heel of the British pressing down on his neck and reach into his pocket and removing coin for the royal tax.
I'm not sure he's been taxed as heavily as others have been.
Well, okay, then making his accountants and lawyers jump through a bunch of hoops to avoid tax all those years. That's.
Aha!
I think I figured it out. Okay. Yep, we've cracked it.
All right, Mitch.
Yep.
You gotta dig yourself out of the conspiracy hole and into the holes and hearts of America and Britons alike. Please give us your number 3.
I don't think I have to dig myself out of that deep of a hole. I think the hole's pretty shallow. It's a pretty easy hole to come out of, and that is my number 3. What's so funny?
Do you remember what your number 3 is?
Yes, I do. My number 3 is
stretch for time.
is blood diamond handcuffs. That's my number 3.
Wow. We got ourselves a stare down, folks.
Holy cow. What's
Mitchell?
If you don't dance, it's not real. Gotta dance a little bit. Okay.
I danced for sure.
Nathan did dance. And Nathan, you're on camera. You have to dance.
Don't worry. We'll shame him publicly on YouTube.
There we go.
All right. Your number 2,
this one's going on YouTube?
Oh, yeah, of course I'm going to put it on YouTube.
I thought we weren't doing that anymore. I would have danced. God damn it.
I hope there's nothing
I would have also cleaned this shit up behind me. I thought we were done with that.
You should assume that if it's being recorded, you're going in public.
I would have worn a black tie. God fucking damn it. What a wasted opportunity.
Do you own a black tie, or do you just own a white tie? Do you color black with a Sharpie? What's the...
I own 3 ties, okay? And one of them is black.
Okay. Oh, okay.
God! I hope the Queen dies again in 2 weeks so I can rectify all this. I have let Her Majesty down.
Are we sure she's dead?
Conspiracy.
Are we sure she's dead? I'm sorry. Okay,
we don't know. We don't know. Your 3, Mitch, is going to go up against Nathan's 2. What do you have at number 2, Nathan?
Well, I have castles. Castles.
Okay.
Although,
all right,
this I could go either way on because castles. I like castles partially because they will get better in some ways if you disassemble and tear down the monarchy. So I love visiting a castle when I'm over in the UK. The ancient ones, Tower of London, beautiful, but also Windsor Castle, amazing. Buckingham Palace, beautiful. All the residences that are currently kept up in pristine and mint condition. It's like walking back in time. You can see everything as it was, and even better because there's air conditioning and running water. And
all right, so updated pro castle. Mitch, can you please explain blood diamond handcuffs to us?
So the blood diamond handcuffs essentially is what I'm thinking here is basically their immense, forever, and unending wealth comes at the expense of many. For the few, many toil, many burn, many have tried and failed to improve their station in life. As the royal family has, enjoyed the spoils of war, enjoyed the spoils of colonialism, enjoyed the spoils of tricking the whole nation into continuing to fund their their silly lifestyle. Who needs to dress in tails as they, receive the Mideast English Division II soccer champs at a castle for an afternoon. It's just unnecessary. As you mentioned earlier, Duke of Edinburgh in Bermudas at a boat parade. That's the royal people I want. Those are the, I want them in casual stuff. I don't need you to dress in the utter finery of old. I think it needs to change with the times, but the checkbook has forever. The Notebook, not a great movie.
Great film.
Very different.
Great film, but not what we're talking about.
Not a great movie. Queen Elizabeth II actually has watched The Notebook 3 separate times at Buckingham Palace. Only once has she sat through the whole thing. Once she fell asleep. The other time she got up to go write a letter. But so I digress. The checkbook has forever had blank checks available to the royal family to continue their silly, odd, strange, peculiar hobbies in life, such as keeping farms and dogs and pretending like you're a farmer for 60 years. So it's just, as you touched on, it's this weird, strange lifestyle that is kept alive by the gossip, by the rags, by the publicity. And really, when it cuts down to it, they're just thin-skinned. Not like, oh, you can't insult me, but like literally thin-skinned because of the inbreeding. The bad blood, the receding hairlines, the shallow eye sockets. It's all there, and yet they continue to be financed, and it boggles my mind, and it needs to end. And I don't know, Nathan, if you have an idea or a guesstimate of when it will end, but I personally hope it ends soon.
I think the beginning will start now, but I think once Charles is gone, then it's really going to be out. It's going to be dismantled piece by piece. It won't be overnight, but I think that's where it will really start to go away. I mean, Prince Harry leaving, completely cutting himself off. His brother William probably has, he obviously has more of a sense of duty, but he probably has some similar sentiments, and I think they'll start to peel away. And people love the Queen but dislike the monarchy, so now that she's gone, public sentiment will turn. But that's also, the monarchy is part of what my number 2 here, the castles, is a lot of that money goes to keeping these things up. They're big tourist attractions. It keeps people coming into the country and whatnot. But the mint condition ones aren't the only ones they've got. They've got the ruined ones, completely ruined, which are also very cool, very beautiful, very haunting to go see. They're these national landmarks. My favorite place I went to was a place called Tintern Abbey in Wales. It's in this just completely isolated place, and then there's just these massive shell of a cathedral, and it's just haunting and gorgeous. But what I want, and what doesn't exist, is the nice mix. I want, once they slowly start to dissemble the monarchy and the money goes away, some of these that are currently in mint condition, not all, but some of them will be abandoned, and you'll get that castle that has vines growing up the walls, but somebody's empty glass of brandy and a cigar is still sitting at a massive oak desk next to a fireplace that's 10 feet tall. You're going to have cobwebs coming down from chandeliers, and you can rent out one at Halloween as a haunted house, and you can have some unemployed actor jump out of the closet dressed as Anne Boleyn with her head chopped off. That is what I want. I want castles that look completely dead and ruined. I want them looking everywhere in between, and I want some in mint condition. That can happen in my lifetime if we start taking the monarchy down right now. That's what I want it for. Not for political, economical, or social reasons, for my own haunted house castle experience. By the time I'm about age 65 to 70, I think this can be a reality. Down with the monarchy.
Wow.
Down with the monarchy. One short lifetime away, and you could have your own little dream.
Brian,
nice.
I don't know about you, but after that beautiful rendition, I'm knackered. Honestly, that was great. So,
Mitch doing his old always used to call me on when the screen changes, just looking up synonyms, British synonyms for tired
what are
right
you talking
there.
about? No.
We see the blue
Leans
light
in,
feel his
the
pale
light
face.
changes. Knackered.
No.
Knackered.
No.
Put your calculators away during the test, everybody.
I will allow
and
it
I don't
for
wanna
Mitch
see
because
you-
he's about to lose the stare
Well,
down.
I also don't want to see you changing your answer with your rubbers, okay?
Oh, wow. Okay.
that's
You know
it.
what, Nathan? You need to stop taking the piss, all right? Or else I'm going to come at you chavvy wags out, all right, brother? Do not step.
The first one was legitimate.
Yes.
The third one, we'll say wasn't. First and second, obviously, yes, but...
Well, this is easy. The pretty picture that Nathan painted of a castle, which I would love to be in, is the winner of the stare down, which means, Mitch, you're getting 0. Nathan, you are also getting 2 points for your gossip because your reasoning is sound. I think the gossip rags will keep the monarchy around a little bit longer than we anticipate, which brings us back to Mitchell for his number 2. What do you have?
Yeah, I mean, all the scallywags in this room just need to sawn off. You know, quit.
You fucking shit. You
What?
You fucking bugger.
Hey, you know what? You can get off my toadstool, sham bomb, and go flip off the top scallyhoo when I'm giving you my number 2. Here we go. I rhyme it too as well. That's what I do.
Shut the fuck up and talk about your 2.
Number 2 is
Try to
easy.
mute
The
your
cousins.
ass.
The cousins, guys. The cousins.
Cousins?
We love the cousins. We love the royal cousins.
Name some cousins.
I mean, do you want ugly ones or do you want hot ones?
Well, I want the hot ones first.
Okay, well then here we go. Lady Amelia Spencer, Lady Eliza Spencer. These are Lady Kitty Spencer. I mean, is there anything more British
Spencers.
than Lady Kitty Spencer here to receive the tea and the royal bosom at the back slot of the Shamaloo. I'm not great at the British slang. I'll be honest. But you know, every time at all those royal weddings that we had in the past 10 years, and by say all of those, I mean 2. I love those. Was it Sarah? It's Prince Charles' daughters, right? That's who it is. Princess Eugenia and someone else, and they always they just wear a giant hat to distract from their teeth, which is honestly a very smart move.
Here's the other one.
Good
There's
move.
Prince Andrew, and then there's Prince Charles, and then there's the other one, who's grateful he's flying under the radar.
Yeah, she is Prince Andrew. Yeah, Prince Andrew's daughters. Those are the ones that show up doing their thing at the social events with the big hats. So yeah, I guess sucks for them because their daughter or their dad's a total fucking creep. But I love all these cousins and all the weird titles they have, like the one of Princess Di's nephews is what was that word we heard earlier? Is it's not the viceroy, it's the
Viscount.
the Viscount. Yes.
Viscount.
Yes, yeah. Brian and I are
Please.
like, yeah,
Please.
Viscount. It's the Viscount. The Viscount. The Viscount of...
Yeah, from Edinburgh.
His Majesty Louis Spencer, Viscount of Althorpe. That guy. Just those, and then there's...
You made him sound like he's from Wisconsin.
Honestly, Louis Spencer looks like, I mean, he's probably like an England 8, but he's a Wisconsin 11. I mean, he is a good looking fella. He's a handsome guy. Good hair, real good hair. But all those other
Name's
cousins...
Louis Spencer. I'm from Mishawaka.
Graduated from Wausau High School in 2012. Sorry.
I live in Mercer now. All right, continue.
But all those other, like, just the lower cousins who were like, you know, I'm Tamsin, Floral Bottom. I'm the 8th Earl of, you know, of Gucci upon sandwich or whatever. You know,
there's a footballer for Leicester City right now that has a name that we can't leave out of this.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought there was a joke. Here we go.
So also,
Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. That's his name. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. That's a real man's name who's a professional athlete.
Wow.
And here's Dewsbury Hall going in for the goal.
Dewsbury Hall.
Dewsbury Hall is like where the Queen's grandparents spent their honeymoon.
Kieran definitely takes his post-match Gatorade in a teacup for sure. It's porcelain. It's very nice.
Pinkies up, baby.
Yeah, pinkies up, dude. But no, I'm just imagining. So, like the main royal family, you know, your Williams, your Harrys. They get, or when they were both in it, they probably got what, like $30 million a year to spend, maybe if not more. I mean, does anyone actually know?
I don't know. So,
but I'm guessing these lower quote unquote like poor cousins, even though they're still wealthy, they maybe get like $200,000 to spend. So I imagine like if you're a viscount or a duchess in like the northeast of England, you know, you don't need a bunch of cash, and you're just like, you know, just some slag at a local pub buying rounds for everyone, you know, trying to keep people on your side, not getting your ass kicked. Again, because you've got the thin skin and the weak blood. I'm just a big fan of it, and I love all the people at the royal weddings. You have your celebrities, your actual like famous people who have done perhaps incredible things or like are incredibly hot or whatever it is that they do, and then you have all these just buck-toothed, very fancy dressed, just weirdly shaped, lumpy cousins and aunts and uncles that show up as well. Love that. So
I want to give a shout out to cousin Zara Tyndall, who I believe was a silver medalist on the equestrian show jumping team in the London 2012 Olympics. The Queen's granddaughter, silver medalist. How about that?
Wow, very impressive.
That's what we call great breeding. And the horse wasn't too bad either.
Hey-o. Mitch, you're getting 3 points for this one.
Oh, thank you. I would say, speaking of Olympics as well, I want to do a shout out to Lady Louise Windsor, who is Prince Edward's only daughter. You're able to put a hockey puck in between each of her two front teeth. That's how jacked her teeth are. British baby. # dentist. Fuck off. All right. That's it for me.
What'd she do to you? He's really laughing it up over there. He just gave himself a little. Oh, that's something for him to nosh on. Good job. All right.
That is not a British
giving
saying,
you 3 points, even though I shouldn't.
Thank you.
I shouldn't give it to you. We are on to our number ones.
Thank you.
Nathan, you have the floor.
All right. My number one reason I love a good old-fashioned monarchy is because take a chance, roll the dice. Brian, you're a gambling man like I am. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. You've got the perfect monarch. Once in a while, it's going to happen. And you've got the greatest person you've ever met in complete control, completely altruistic, wisdom, fairness, and they have total control of everything. Granted, things are going to go to shit in a while, but for like a sweet 30 years, it's all perfect. It's the only system that has a chance of working out perfectly. Communism, we've seen it fail. Democracy, the public is stupid. Look, democracy got us Donald Trump and Boris Johnson. So, in the words of Kent Brockman from The Simpsons, I've said it before and I'll say it again, democracy simply doesn't work. We've tried all kinds of governments all over the place, all over every country in the world. Nothing is perfect. We're still chasing the dragon in terms of things going well. But if you have the perfect monarch, which just once in a while you might have, God, you are shitting roses on Easy Street, baby. It is going to be great. You are going to have the birds singing and the flowers blooming. There is going to be gold trickling out of your faucet and your shower head every morning. Your eggs are going to come out just fluffy enough. It's going to be perfect. This is the only system where you have a chance of perfection. Even though it's unlikely, you got that little chance. You got that scratch off at the gas station lottery ticket that actually comes up. You have the Powerball ticket that comes through. It's the only way it works.
She gonna have gold falling out her minge, isn't she? That's how good she gonna be. So, I mean, you're talking about a benevolent dictator. You're really hoping that you get that for a very short while. There were a lot of times where people called Richard J. Daley in Chicago a benevolent dictator because he just do whatever he want. He worked with the mob. He got shit done. When he wanted to get rid of Meigs Field, he decided overnight to get rid of it, fucking tore it up, moved on to something else. No alderman oversight, none of that. No city council, none of that bullshit. I want this done. It's done. I even talked to people who used to work at city colleges who used to say when they used to have the mob looking after the schools, it was better than when anything that came after it. They were like, things just got done and moved perfectly under the Dailies. And I was like,
Wow.
that's very fascinating to know. So you're hoping that you get somebody like that can run an entire country without controversy and hopefully not sign up for a 90-year parking deal that makes no sense.
Well, I'm not saying Daley is the best example.
No, I'm saying you need somebody who can make the decisions that are hopefully in the best interest without any oversight. Yeah. You're hoping for those good decisions to outweigh the bad ones for a long period of time. And you'd probably only get that under a true monarch.
Yeah, you just
Can I
might
ask
get lucky.
When you think this existed in England?
Well, yeah, that's the question I was hoping you wouldn't ask. Henry V was quite popular because he was also a great military commander. Queen Victoria was also quite popular, but she had the disadvantage of being born in the Victorian age. Who knew? But things were okay for a while. So there's been fleeting moments.
I'm sure the Commonwealth has a different take on that.
Yeah. Elizabeth II, things were great except for the people she had beheaded and burned at the stake. But yeah.
That'll do.
Here's a you guys know I love to play devil's advocate, right? What if you get a leader such as Edward, in 36, who's actually secretly wanting to create a power pact with Hitler himself? What if you get something like that, and you aren't lucky enough to where they get infatuated with a non-royal from America who's had 2 previous marriages, so he can't get her brought into the royal family?
Well, then you're completely
I don't want to speak for Nathan, but it does say a roll of the dice in the rare event that you do get a good one.
That's a good point. Okay, so it's mostly shit. You're right, mostly shit. Okay.
I'm saying it's mostly shit with like a little tiny 14 karat gold piece in the middle. But I'm saying with everything else, that little piece isn't there.
Sure. You also mentioned showering in gold, and I don't know if I want to shower in fancy metals. I think I just want to shower in regular clean water, personally. That's just me. But
what if it was in a bathtub made of gold?
Yes.
I mean, that sounds pretty nice.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to take a dip in a tub of Earl Grey?
So to go back to Mitch's shit analogy, which I feel we must.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, please.
So democracy is one big poop that was taken after you've eaten a nice square meals of the right amounts of fruits, vegetables, and grains over a week. All right. It's very pleasant and healthy, but it's still shit. Whereas monarchy is just complete bloody diarrhea for centuries with that one little diamond engagement ring settled in there somewhere.
One perfect day of rabbit turds and a sea of bloody diarrhea.
Wait, did you say a perfect day of rabbit turds? That also means you're sick if you're pooping like a rabbit.
I know, but it almost means you don't have to wipe. So there's
Hey, Mitch, have you ever owned a rabbit? Easiest animal to clean up after.
I have.
Yeah, come on.
I've been to school in the same room as a rabbit. It was not a classmate. It was a pet. I just want to say that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Fair
Mitch, take us out. What's your number one?
My number one, guys, this one's obvious. If you don't already know this based on knowing me as a friend, then you're crazy.
Yeah.
My number one is the fashion. Come on, it's the fashion. Of course it is. It's the accessorizing the royal life. I mean, I will say you both knew me in my younger days when I dressed like a true gentleman. Blazers all the time, collared shirts on lock. This is a direct
Nantucket red
He would
shorts.
wear a lot of jumpers. He would wear a lot of collared jumpers.
Exactly. This is a direct descendant of the royal family. Fashion statements made throughout the years. Polo Ralph Lauren directly influenced Ralph Lauren himself, born in the Bronx, is Ralph Lipschitz, changed his last name, created a whole new world, basically taking the English Polo Club, bringing it over to America, and handing that fashion legacy down to us simple Midwestern boys. And I ate it up. I ate it up with a silver spoon covered in gold and, in a beautiful creamed fish soup inside the spoon, or whatever it is they eat in London. An eel pie, if you will, if you're a true two-bit chuggy, a real English term. Thank you very much.
You already said it.
No, I know, but I'm just reminding the audience that two-bit chuggy is a fantastic English term to use again in the future. As I mentioned earlier too, with the cousins, the beautiful hats, the big ostentatious bold hats, which I really enjoy because English people are none of that. They want to stay prim, proper, calm, collected, all those things, but the hats do all the talking for them. I think I love that a lot. I wish some of my relatives from quiet, plain speaking people in Minnesota would do the same. But instead they just, wear orthotics and simple floral dresses. Oh,
the shame.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then also I know again, and I mentioned you don't need to wear tails to receive a team from the Northeast Central, English second tier soccer league championships or whatever. But when you are wearing tails, you look like a beautiful, beautiful gentleman, and a well-tailored suit, a well-fit shirt with a beautiful tie is just a nice accent to a lavish soiree and cocktail reception. And lastly, one of my favorite fashion statements from the royal family, not Queen Elizabeth herself, because I'm not a big fan of her headscarf thing, but farm chic, the hunting jackets, the padded quilted vests, those now are reflected tremendously in American culture. They have been bastardized and used too much by American business bros, in my opinion. But if you get back to the original roots of it, I do find that aesthetic quite pleasing. And then lastly,
in conclusion,
I know.
It sounded like the end of a dissertation.
I know, right? Yes. Lastly,
in my opinion,
I'm going to say a well-greased head of hair with a good part never goes out of style. A gentleman will always look in place, no matter if he feels out of place, with a comb and a good tin of jelly. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. That's my number one.
Well, I have to add into this is that it's true, because Mitch in his younger days, when we lived together, he would come out with his new outfit and be like, "How do I look? I'm going out on the piss. I'm going out on the tiles." Mm-hmm. Brian, get your pen out. You're going to need to count here.
I got it.
Mitch was going out on the tiles with his bruvs.
Yep.
And which I thought were a bunch of chavs, but he would say, "What do you think?
Chavs is a good one. Chavs is a good one.
What do you think of this garment I'm wearing from my waist to my ankles?" And I would say, "Those are a nice pair of trousers, but you're going to need to keep them up with some braces, or else they're going to fall down and people will see your knickers." And he'd say, "Okay, well, what about this garment covering my torso that doesn't have any sleeves?" And I said, "That's a fine waistcoat, but you're going to need a little more pomade in that coif. And before you leave, you made a mess last night, so you're going to need to do some hoovering."
Holy shit. What a fucking...
You know what, Nathan? Wow. You know what? Yes, good. Way to put in a shift, all right? Wow, really tossing all the poo at the wall, Yeah, well, guess what? Go to the loo and empty out all that garbage out of your gob, That's just absolute tallywag slog.
God means mouth for those of you listening, not butthole.
Wow. You know what? My fans know what it means, gob, and I have to explain to them. But guess what? Yours is the butt crew. Okay, we just certified that right there. And you know what? Brian, I just want to tell you that I'm cheesed off, and if you watch this long-haired slag waffle anymore.
Okay, enough. I'm running out of room on my post-it.
I want to point out that Mitch's screen has changed color 32 times, where I did not have to look up a single one of those fashion-related slang terms.
I know. No, you just cheated and wanted to look like you had really poisoned skin and poisoned blood and thin skin or whatever the fuck you said.
Bad blood
But
and
you were
thin skin. Yeah.
Correct. That's what I was looking for. You're getting 2 points for your fashion. Nathan also got 2 points for his number one.
Okay.
But Nathan went on a tirade there. And while Mitch was not illegal, it was very.
I would say
I absolutely
that was pure
played a
graft.
blinder while Mitch had a mare.
No, he was drafting. I mean,
yes. The tally is in.
Nathan's
I will not count Nathan's last
a skint, a scallywag, and a slapdasher do. I mean, if that's not true,
doesn't matter.
Call me
Mitch's 21 does not live up to Nathan's 22. Nathan got in one more at the end there, making him the winner.
If I had lost an England-themed episode, I would have resigned. This would have been my final episode.
You were below. If you didn't go on that blitzkrieg at the end.
Well, hey, we're still very sensitive about that word. Thank you.
I know. I'm so sorry.
If you hadn't pulled out the Edward at the end, then yeah, no, it wouldn't have happened. But he was a Nazi. Blitzkrieg. Okay, come on, let's go. Come on.
Okay, we got it. Yeah. Oh, anyway, we can't leave without the Fast Five, which of course is the worst reasons to extend a London getaway. I don't know how this is going to live up to the rest of the episode, but we're going through it. All right, worst reasons to extend your London getaway. Number 5, you love being weighed down by the pound. And of course, that's a pocket full of coins, that is, even though they are cashless now. So that doesn't work. Number 4, you can't get enough of that traditional English breakfast. There's nothing that gets you ready for the day more than unseasoned beans and a quarter wedge of tomato. Number 3, you paid for a full freight Oyster card and you never made it to Zone 5. You got to see what the hype's all about. Number 2, you heard the sun might come out tomorrow. Number 1, you got to swing by 221 Baker Street, but you don't know that it's just a shitty museum and a yoga and Pilates studio. That's this week's edition of Über Cinco. Joining me from high atop Ginger Prince Castle has been
Mitch Brinkman.
And the man being defenestrated from the tallest tower has been
Nathan Hennenfent.
And of course, I've been your big wet British boy, Brian Ernst. And as Bizbear always says, it's not a British museum. It's the world's largest collection of finders keepers. Auf Wiedersehen and adios. You've just listened to Über Cinco, a production of UBK Studios. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your fine podcasts from.
If you like what you hear and want to support the show, please visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/UBK Studios. Every little bit helps us keep the lights on and the bill collectors at bay.
Keep tabs on us on all the social media at UBK Studios, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see that we really are just a bunch of good Midwestern boys.